Hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. Good morning. Or should I say good afternoon? That's right, it's 12:30. The reason why I'm starting the film so late is because last night around 9:30 I decided to get into watching my new series on Netflix. I started watching Ozark. Next thing you know, I've watched 9 episodes straight, and I go to bed at 7 a.m. this morning. Crazy, right? So I'm running on fumes right now, but gotta get to this video. This is the Franken Tractor Nightmare, probably episode 6. But in reality, it's not really 6 episodes because I've been doing little bits along with the other episodes that I've been doing on push mowers and all that stuff, you know. So it's not truly 6. It's really, if you combine all the time that I've put into this tractor, it's really like 3 or 4, you know. As you guys saw from yesterday's engine rebuild, I decided to change the engine block from a 33 cubic inch to a 31 cubic inch because I found out that my connecting rod would only fit 31 and below. 28 through 31 cubic inches, so I decided to use the 18.5 engine. I think that Larry and Bobby gave me. As you know, the sump cover was cracked along the camshaft post over here, so I used JB Weld. That was yesterday's episode. Man, it's really held up very well. It's cured for about 20 hours or so, so I've got 4 hours to go if you want to be technical about things, but I'm pretty sure it's fine. Hard as steel, looks just like steel, feels just like a weld. This is the post. As you know, I also covered the post too because I wanted to make the structure better. You get better structure when you have 3 connecting points, you know, the flat part, and then you add a third part there that strengthens it. I did the same thing with this part over here. Even though the crack was around there, I looped it down into the depression, the hole depression here. That makes it have like a 3-dimensional side to it. So the structure is stronger when you create 3 sides to it. You guys know what I mean. I know I'm not explaining it perfectly. It's a nice little platform I got here to put the sump cover on. I'm going to get some RTV because I like to keep the gasket in place. If you put the gasket on here without the RTV, you may be able to get this centered, but then it may not be perfectly centered over here or over here. So that when you put the bolt in, it may tear the gasket. So I just put a little, tiny little amount of coating over here just to hold the gasket on. So before I get started with this, I gotta change because I know I'm gonna be dirty. Ooh, that was fast. Anyway, so before I mount this, got some assembly lube, got some old RTV. So no time to screw around. Spit spot, I'm late. So I'm very pleased. There was a concern that maybe because of the crack was so close to the cam tower, right, where the camshaft sits on, that maybe it wouldn't line up right, you know. As you saw, I took great care in checking, rechecking, and triple checking that I didn't forget anything. I remember putting the tappets in and the push rods, put the governor on there. It actually sits pretty well on the shaft. Remember I told you that I had to move the shaft to get the synchro balancer in there? it actually feels right, you know, it feels perfect. But I am going to reset it anyway. Still have a lot to do because this engine, I decided last minute to use this block instead of the 33 cubic inch one, right? The 33 cubic inch one had a magneto, had a stator, had a starter on it, and everything, right? This one, it only has the stator on there, so I have to attach a starter, I have to attach a magneto, I have to find a flywheel for this. I have like 2 or 3 of them back there. You know what I also need to do? I don't have a choke linkage. So I'm going to have to make one from scratch. But I need one as a guide for me to bend the wire into that length, you know? So you remember my Toro 825 that I just picked up the other day? Well, that has a Walbro on there. That choke linkage is the same size. So I might try to go in the back of that Toro 825 riding mower, push it forward a little bit, try to remove that choke cable, the choke linkage, and then get another throttle linkage somewhere. I have a bunch, and then bend it into shape and make my own choke linkage. As you see over here, I have this is set up for a rear gas tank, which it has in there, and a fuel pump type delivery. I actually have a dipstick, Cletus, you dipstick, that you can stick in there. The dipstick itself has a nozzle on it, and that's the pulse for a fuel pump. So that's an option that I have if the conversion seems too difficult. So what I'm going to do is, if I get this started, and if this thing runs, I'm going to convert this from a fuel pump rear gas tank delivery to a gravity-fed fuel tank and run a new positive cable wire from the solenoid all the way to the back to the battery. I'm going to try to find a battery stay, right? And then a battery box, and then put the battery in there and route my new cables in there. My new red positive cable through there, and then take a black wire. I guess I could use this one. And then bolt it to the frame in the back. Put it to the negative terminal. Clean this thing a little bit. The sump cover went on perfectly. Just went right on. Pushed it down. Went right on there. That part has to click on to, not click on, but match the synchro balancer, which is amazing. I got it done in the first shot, you know. And also the hole for the cam, first shot, and also the little ledge that the governor gear, the governor stays on. So there's 3 catch points on there. And for you to line it up perfectly without having to turn the crankshaft and everything, move this around and then tap it, perfect, you know. So I'll just put this on here and see, you know. It's not very heavy right now. No starter on here or anything. I have to find some... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Huh. Wait a minute. How about that? There are 3 different hole patterns for engines on here. And I'm using the total outer ones, which is I've never done, I don't think. So make sure these holes line up. That's through, but I can't see through there. Aha, I can see. Stick a screwdriver through there. See. Yep, there's a hole. Is the shaft centered? Shaft is centered. How about it? So I'm gonna find some engine mounting bolts. So look what I got here. I wanted to show you guys. I've got two kinds of dipsticks here. Dipstick? Cletus, you dipstick!
You're a dipstick!
Anyway, so these are two different types of dipsticks. I know they look exactly the same, but if you look at this one here, this one's got a nozzle. It sticks out. Sticks out! And this one doesn't. So this is for a gravity-fed engine, and this is for a rear gas tank fuel pump type. So basically, the crankcase pressure pulses this line. You put basically a fuel hose here, you know, and it attaches to the middle nozzle of those black plastic fuel pumps. And what happens is it pulses air, and it lets the diaphragm on the fuel pump suck gas from the back to the front. So this is an option that I could use should I decide to do the fuel pump route, like if the gas tank is too hard to take out, right? And I have to find a place for the battery, whatever, and I decide not to put a fuel tank here, and I do run it, I'd have to find a place to mount a fuel pump. And I would use this dipstick, and I would use this nozzle for the pulse line. But I'm going to use this one because I hate fuel pump delivery systems and rear gas tanks. Hate it. Because you're gonna run into trouble. I mean, you can run into trouble. Sometimes those diaphragms are clogged, whatever, and they don't work right, or the rubber of the diaphragm is worn over time, you know. Instead, I'll just let the gas free flow, gravity fed. Hey guys, remind me to put oil in here, okay? Because I don't have any oil in there. As usual, I always forget to check too. Another thing is, before I look for the engine mounting bolts, right? I've got another pickle. I usually mount the engine without putting a muffler on, and then it makes it really difficult to put the muffler on because I have to take this whole thing apart. This is fine because I already have this opening here, but I don't have a muffler. So I've got this muffler, but this is really a different design, you know. This is meant for a flathead. The flathead is on the left side. Overhead valves are on the right side. So this goes all the way around. But it looks like this tube comes off. And the muffler itself it's good. Doesn't rattle. This, I got this from 5-Speed or somebody else, I don't remember, but I don't even know what it is. I think it's a Honda. So it's got a side input, which could give me a choice. I also found these two opposed twin pipes that I was meaning to use eventually, you know, but I haven't gotten around to building an opposed twin engine, you know, because I'm missing some parts. Should I try to use these? That's too big. And I got this one, see? I believe this part here is been sawed off, or is this the tailpipe, you know, to an opposed twin, you know? This is two openings, so that's not going to work unless I'd have to cut this and make something and weld it on to close it, you know what I mean? It's a lot. Or I could just cut this part straight. Still, no matter what, I have to weld it, and this would be a dual exhaust, you know? But that would be, I think this would be upside down. Got another muffler here, but this is also for opposed twins, see? The opposed twin ones go in like this. Orientation's wrong for me, so it's not gonna work. Got a lawnmower one. This is for a 7 horsepower JS63. Diameter of the hole's way too small. So you know what? This is no good. I think I might try to do something with these two. So I've been messing with this muffler thing for quite a while, and I think that the exhaust is going to have to be a separate episode on its own, because I might have to piece together like 3 mufflers to make one, you know, at least like 3 segments of the exhaust manifold to the muffler, and then cut off some tailpipes, you know. So that's going to take a while. I took the bottom part of that heat shield out so I can slip it in. I managed to find 4 engine mounting bolts, and they went in lickety-split with my impact, so it was a non-issue very quickly. Engine is mounted. However, I need to now switch over starter and magneto onto there, and then find a carburetor and mount that. Oh hey guys, man oh man, when I named this the Franken Tractor Nightmare, I wasn't kidding around. What a freaking nightmare.
Oh my god, what a fucking freaking nightmare.
I'll tell you why it's a nightmare. The ignition switch, the original one, doesn't work. It's Dunsky. The only ones I had were the old Craftsman kind, which look exactly alike. But the pattern is not the cone, it's the 4 and the 1. You know what I mean? For you guys who know ignition switches, you know what I'm talking about. The cone one was the one this was at. The ones that I had spare that fits the hole on the dash, you know, the metal kind, not the black plastic kind, was the 4, 1, and ground. Anyway, I had to rewire the whole thing. I thought the solenoid was busted, but I tested and tested and tested and tested and tested. The fuse holder was bad. It had a 45 amp fuse in there. There was wires cut inside. I had no idea what the previous owner did to this thing. Fortunately for me, I had a whole set of fuses thanks to my friend Samuel Sandoval over at Red Oaks Mowers. Thanks a lot, Sam. All of your gifts have come in handy, and I've used them all on camera. So I've rewired this whole thing. Watch. Remember, I didn't put any Earl in there yet. Ready for this? I found a 4 and 1 and a ground harness. Used a super small screwdriver to pull the other wires out. I didn't connect the magneto because I still don't know which one it is. So I'm going to wait until it's actually running for me to test which one is the magneto, you know. But I tested and tested, blew probably 4 or 5 fuses, trying to figure out which one of these tabs was S for solenoid, B for battery, G for ground is easy because it's the one to the outside, you know, that's ground. I couldn't figure out which one's magneto. There's an accessory 1 and accessory 2 plus a lights one. I had to just test. The lights, the accessories, and the blue one, they're all about the same. I did manage to connect a wire to the fuel solenoid. That's right. I'll show you what I did. As you can tell here, I've had a lot of spaghetti going on. Wires and testing, and I got it all pulled out. Just for testing, I put the battery over there and connected it because I had to have a fuel tank on the top, see? So if this all works, right, I'm going to relocate the battery to the gas tank area. I'm going to lift the fender, pull the old gas tank out, find a battery stay in a battery box, and put the battery over there and reroute the wire underneath, just a positive one, with a black one attached to the frame. Gravity-fed gas tank. As you can see, I put the flywheel on. I put a magneto on because the magneto that came with this thing, or it came with the engine, it's a good magneto, but it didn't have the thing, you know, the metal clip in the boot. Just yanked it out, whatever. So instead of me going through hell putting that together, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, I just got another magneto and put it on. Connected to the spark plug. Remember, I still have to do the valves if this starts. Routed the wire to the other side for the fuel solenoid. Put the starter on. This is a good starter. Dipstick you know about. This is the magneto wire that I'm planning on connecting once I figure out which one it is. This is a new fuse holder. I currently have a 10 amp fuse in here. I really shouldn't. I should put a 20. That's what I should do, because I'm surprised the 10 even didn't blow yet, you know. But I was blowing so many fuses, I didn't want to waste the 20s, you know. So I put some 10s there, and it hasn't blown. But the correct one is 20. So it's a new ignition switch. Not new, but, you know, one that works. If this thing miraculously starts, right? As you can see, I don't have a muffler. I got to work on the muffler situation, the exhaust situation another time, because this is just taking too long, man, you know? So if this thing starts, it's going to be louder than heck. And as you can see, I've been super busy, man. I got this carburetor, see? It was attached to this one. This one is the fake Nicky, right? Copy with the straight fuel nozzle sticking out. Nick from Medford gave me this one. Has a fuel solenoid on it. Appears to work. I haven't looked at it or anything, but you know, you blow into the tube. You can feel air going out. You flip it upside down. You blow. You can't blow. That means that the floating needle is working, right? All the linkages seem to work, right? And I put this carburetor on this intake manifold with this air filter thingamajig, right? Connected the breather hose in there. Connected the fuel solenoid thing, and I tested it, and it works. I connected the throttle cable, and I got a new fuel line with a fuel filter attached to a gas tank. Didn't have any of that. The throttle that I put on, this throttle lever that I put on has the 2 bolts over here, except it's not made for this model. It's supposed to be the other direction. So look, this, if you can see the linkage, was actually choke. And top is actually, if you pull the lever all the way to the top here, it's actually lowest throttle. So if you wanted to choke and high throttle, it's actually pulling down on it. So I have it reversed, you know what I mean? But I can't help it though, because my lever only has the 2 holes over here. Unless I have to drill 2 more holes over here and flip it around, which is probably what I'll do if this thing runs, you know what I mean? So to test it now, that's right, we're going to test it. I'm going to put it all the way to the bottom, which is choke. So now I'm going to add 1.3 quarts of SAE30 plus motor oil for my friends over at Lucas Oil Products. I'm just going to put, what the heck? I'm just going to put 1 quart in here. What the heck? Oh, duh. Just going to put 1 quart in here to start up. And then I'm going to fill it as needed to the line after it settles. Shout out to my buddy over in England, Andy GOBBY. You can look him up on Instagram, Mower Wizards. Thanks a lot, Andy. He donated $2.41. I'm sure he wanted to donate 2 pounds, but the conversion goes to $2.40. Yeah, the pound is stronger than the dollar, so if he donated 2 pounds, it comes out to about $2.41. So thanks a lot, Andy. Andy donates quite often, as well as some other guys like Dwight Green. They donate on a regular basis, and I appreciate it. If you guys would like to donate, spend $1 or $2 to keep the videos coming every day. Support is greatly appreciated. You can simply just type in paypal.me/mowersandblowers. Remember the N in between mowers blowers. paypal.me/mowersandblowers. Enter any amount, and I'll get it in my PayPal. Really appreciate it. Also, support the channel. Buy a sticker. By the way, I'm running out of stickers. Can you believe it? I think I sold like 100 or so, and I might have to reorder. I did order some new hologram stickers. They were very expensive, but I wanted to try it to see what they look like. So I just ordered 10 just to see what it looked like. So I put a quart in here. No need to check because it's in there. First thing we're going to do is spit. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crank it once just to see if it cranks, to see if the solenoid works, okay? I have my fire extinguisher there, but it's electrical, so you know what? I have my side cutters right here. If something starts to smoke, I'm just going to cut the negative cable off the battery. Alright, so we're going to crank it. That's it. There's no gas, so it's not going to start. And even if it did start, I don't have the magneto connected, so I can't shut it off. Let's see if it cranks. Woo! Hey, that sounds good, huh? Oh, man. Should I put gas in it and try? I'm so nervous. Remember, it's going to be super loud if it starts. Should I put gas in it, or should I just spray something? Do you think I should just spray something? Maybe I should just spray something first. That's what I'll do. Yeah, that's a ticket. Yeah, that's a ticket. I'll just spray something first. All right, here we go. Let me get you at a better angle. I just want to see if it turns over. Okay, here we go. Let me off choke it. Blow. That was quite a bit. Starting fluid from Mowers. He left it in the battery box last time we did a trade. Now I forget. Is this choke? That's choke. All right. Let's see if it turns over and runs. Let me get my side cutters ready in case it smokes. You guys think it'll start? Ooh, kind of did. It went. It kind of wanted to, though. Let me take it off a choke, because it is kind of warm. You know what? Let's see if there's any spark. You know, it definitely has spark because we heard it, you know. Okay, here we go. I took the spark plug out. It's resting right there. I'm going to close in on it. You guys see it? All right. Let's crank it and see if you see spark. Good spark, right? Could be better, but, you know, it's pretty good. You know what? We're going to have to do it anyway, so I'm going to put some gas in here just to at least check and see if the carburetor leaks, you know? I don't have a fuel shutoff on it because I was just putting the thing on for testing. So I've got some gas in there, about an inch worth. So if it doesn't, I mean, there's a little piece of it, right? I mean, you heard a little piece of it. It tried to turn over, but just not quite, you know? So I put gas in it now. Let's see if it turns over. A lot of fuel coming out there. I'm going to choke it. A ton of fuel coming out, man. I think it's flooding it. I just clamped off the hose. Too much fuel is flowing in there. I think the carburetor, maybe, because I didn't look at it, maybe it's missing a jet or something, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know. So, I'm going to try it again. Look how much fuel is coming out of the exhaust, you know? So much out of here, too. It's terrible. Doesn't seem like it wants to start ever. Ooh. That's a little piece of it, fellas, right there. It wants to. All right, so look, I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I don't want to damage anything. But looks like it wants to start. So remember what we have to do tomorrow. I
I got to check the carburetor, actually open it up. If not, we'll try another different carburetor. Also, we need to do the valves, remember? It hasn't been set, you know what I mean, at all. Not to mention, I might have to reset the governor, right? The governor shaft. Remember I told you that I had to move it to get the synchro balancer in there? So there's 3 things I got to do. Reset the governor, maybe. But first, we're going to do the valves. There's a big deal with the valves. You notice how much fuel was pouring out? So that intake valve may be off by a lot, and too much fuel is getting through, you know? And it's chugging back into the exhaust port and coming out the muffler, you know? But it wanted to start. You guys saw that. And even better, my rebuilt motor engine, you know, people always say its motors are electric, gas are engines. So this is a gas engine, not a motor. But people call it motor all the time, you know? So pretty good. I'm happy because it's cranking nice and smooth without any knocks, right? And more importantly, it didn't blow a connecting rod, you know? So that's probably 10 rebuilt engines that I've done in my life. So far, so good. I haven't blown one yet. But anyway, that's a big part of this today. I mean, I spent a lot of time on it, basically rebuilding the whole engine, putting it together. Getting the wiring was the biggest pain in the rear, you know? Flywheel, key, blower fan, magneto, starter motor. We tested the solenoid. We know the solenoid works. Installed a battery, rewired the whole thing with a new ignition switch, added a gas tank, added a carburetor, intake manifold, fuel lines. That's enough for like 5 episodes. You know what I mean? So come join me tomorrow as we do the valves, reset the governor, and maybe check out the carburetor and see why it won't stay running. Thanks a lot for joining me today. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.
See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.